No potion can heal this curse, because its root is in another's hands.
And that's the end of chapter 3. Alright, well, I think that is going to do it for the night. Yeah, it's the end of chapter 3. It's been a couple hours, and I need to pass out before I end up face down on my keyboard. So, be back in a couple days. Looks like next on the schedule, we'll be back over to an X-Wing Alliance stream. So, should be doing that on Tuesday. So, until then, thanks for watching, everyone. And remember, till next time, keep your knees in the breeze and the shiny side up. Bye, everybody. Okay, so current goal. How soon will Thorn realize the Menhirs do not cure in reap time? You should intercept him at the double Menhir. Which means I'm playing as Hopper. Alright, and we're trying to get to the double Menhir, which is somewhere. Okay, we're here. Well, it's not like we have a choice. Alright, the road running through the mountain valley between the Albius Menhir and the Juranan Tower, the border of Jurana, and a way to get to the old Gabonan Road and the Burkanan Road. The valley itself is wide and shallow and well-traveled year-round. Off we go. You feel the reaping growing stronger. Its shadow falls upon you. The curse that's crippled your arm is headed for your heart. If you give up and feed some of your power to the enchantment, you can prevent the reaping from growing in strength. If you resist and save your energy, the dark magic will tighten its grip on the world. Alright, let's feed some power, because I think the whole point of this is to prevent the reaping. Curse is spreading, Blance's stats are lowered. Got a skill point. The blackness on your hand creeps upwards, sapping your strength and chilling your hurt. And yet, the reaping halts for a while. You console yourself, knowing that your suffering lessens the evil surrounding Terminia. On the road or taking a rest, you can't shake the words in the town hall from your mind. Follow the guiding one. Collect the 7 parts of wisdom. Read them and be saved. You sit by the fire, pondering the words' true meaning. Are they meant to guide or ensnare? Why would someone curse you, then make you piece together a spell to break said curse? What's the point? What could it possibly mean? The world is changing. People are rising up against the Reapers. An eerie bewitchment, an unknown sorcerer. And the darkness keeps creeping. You close your eyes, trying to remember everything you know about previous reapings. Nothing makes sense. It's as though different scent is in the air. Something mysterious is coming. There's also the hand. Hey, scribe, you sleeping? What shall we do when we catch up to Thorn? We won't be able to capture someone like Captain Brennan with our bare hands. I'm not looking to start a fight. I don't like this idea. Besides, they say drawing your sword against Thorn is a sure way to die. We'll think about it when we catch up to him. We'll be traveling to the nearest men here, per your advice, and I'm not drawing my sword, not unless there's a good reason. Whatever the case, I'll try talking to Thorn first. The man isn't so simple. What's to gain in being simple? He had a word with his servant, Tenor, when he was leaving town. The only thing on Thorn's mind is saving his daughter. Already lost his wife, and now he's only got his daughter, and his son's somewhere in the service. I think it best not to stand in Thorn's way. Tree, calm down if we find his son. Is Thorn really that good? Does Thorn have any benefactors? Well, we've still got to catch him. Let's learn some more. Is Thorn really that good? Captain Brennan is the legend of Odola. Who hasn't heard of Mad Thorn? Maybe the best swordsman in all of Burkana. A hero of the Gabonan War. A hero of the Northern Expedition and the Battle of the Southern Isles. Though he's grown much older since his last escapade, battle experience is not easily forgotten. I don't think he'll be fighting back, sword or not. That's if Prince Ho is still alive, of course. I hope that's the case. Not only is Thorn an exceptional swordsman, he's taught his daughter the same skills. I've seen her with a sword a couple of times. Goes swift as the wind. So better to talk with Thorn than cross swords. Will Trieg calm down if we find his son? I'd love to know that myself. I'm guilty of the same thing that made His Highness want to capture Captain Brennan. Had to kill a toll collector near a watchtower in self-defense. Well, at least I didn't borrow a prince. That's not the problem. If a ruler says something regrettable when enraged, he won't be taking it back, even once he calms down. It does not befit a man of stature to go back on his word. Besides, Thorn's made quite a blunder in Albius, so many guards dead. Does Thorn have any benefactors? His father-in-law is supposedly a big fish, but they're not on speaking terms or something. Not sure. He's with the army now, I reckon. By the way, a servant of Thorn's, named Tenor, sealed off his house and moved west, probably to his old master. He used to look after his daughter, but then managed to outlive her. His father-in-law is Count Stockhead Fitti. Thorn's servant was out in his wagon when I saw him by the gate. He ventured to Opicum to visit the Count. The Count's a military governor now. Oh, that's not Stein. So we're likely to meet Thorn in Opicum if we can't find him sooner. Well, we've still got to catch him. You're right about that. The road's dangerous. Saw some footprints near the spring. A couple dozen cavalry went by there just 2 days ago. The boots are definitely not from Burkana. They've got a strange heel print. I've seen it too. Those are the footprints of the Enzes. The flowing Manaz took their corpses to the Albius watchtower, right? Should have looked at the boots sooner. Enzes or not, so what? Thorn and his men managed to hack him up, right? How are we any different? Hopper, the only thing is, don't just jump into battle, yeah? Your knack for tearing down towers won't help you here. Better to be safe. Don't want to upset the Cardinal, do we? Deal? Attaboy. Alright, I'll go see if they left anything else behind. You think hard about what you've learned. Thorn piques your curiosity by the minute. Now there's just finding him, and learning how he managed to withstand that Reaper. Listen, Hopper, I don't quite get you. What are you? Are you a healer, or a wizard, or whatchamacallit, a penman? I even heard you're also a baron, without residence most likely, and you're not young. How do you get by? They don't pay you a dime, do they? I capture princes, Stein. When someone disappears, I'm the one to turn to. I may have no regular allowance, but should I find a prince, I'll have enough money to gorge myself. Should I fail, however, I'd best avoid said kingdom for the next decade or so if I want to keep my head attached. Still, I've been lucky so far. Want me to cut you in? No siree. Burkana's a bit short on princes. Besides, it's quite a long way between kingdoms, and my boots are worn through. I'd rather stay by the Albius Gate, if I ever return, that is. Right, onward we go. Under a sprawling oak tree on a hill, there's a black slab of stone with a half-effaced inscription, and engraved with the image of a sword. You used to know the warrior lying under this grave marker, as you knew his father and his grandfather. You remember them all by name. Ake dismounts and strolls toward the grave, immersed in thought. As you get closer, the giant warrior turns to face you and points at the stone slab behind him. Here lies a hero of Burkana, rescuer of over 100 Raydonan children. I dare say he's just like Thorn Brennan, but lived half a century earlier. Do you know anything about him? Or of the others? Tell me about yourself, too. Memories are a family business. Are you a book lover, or what? Yes, I know this hero. His name was Captain Helton. 60 years ago, the Palians rose again. We avoided a full-scale war, but several bands landed on the Raydonan shores and massacred several villages. The only prisoners they took were children. They took over 100 children to their islands. They needed 10 longships to carry them. Helton went after them and saved everyone. The Palians had their revenge. 10 years later, they captured him and burned him alive. His charred bones lie here. There were 122 children in total. Helton saved 80. The rest perished during the battles or were killed by the Palians. Though they didn't burn Helton, the Vandals did after he'd torched 4 Vandal villages near Phrygia and killed everyone there. Are you saying Helton wasn't a hero? Or that it was wrong to burn the Vandal villages? At least the Palians never murdered children. Helton burned the villages and left no one alive. He supposedly did it to punish the Vandals' banditry, but Gels were the ones responsible for the raids. Helton paid dearly for his actions. His bones were returned in a basket full of shit, and that's how they buried him here. Burkana had many heroes. The man lying under this stone had many renowned companions. His bosun was Selja, nicknamed Fatso. The drunkard Hund stood at the helm. Bash, who knew every shoal from Raydona to Isida, was the pilot. And where are their graves? Did they receive heroes' burials? Selja became food for the cannibals near Phrygia, so there's nothing left to bury. Hund got so drunk he fell from the stern of the ship and drowned. The crew didn't notice until morning. It's a miracle that the ship didn't hit a reef. As for Bash, his own captain killed him.
Was it because he crashed the ship on the rocks, or ran it aground?
No, for stopping Helton from raping a 13-year-old girl. Helton said that the entire Palean horde had humped her, and that one more wouldn't make a difference. When you dig into history, Ake, pinch your nose. The stench is unimaginable. A book lover should stick to his books. Consider me an orphan. The village where I'm from was one of the few massacred by the Paleans. I survived, obviously, so this is my story too.
Why did you become a scribbler? Or, what do you call it? A scribe?
That's how the stars aligned, Ake. You become a warrior because you're strong, brave, honest, and determined. I became a scribe because I have good memory, legible handwriting, and because sitting on the stone benches in the archives doesn't make my back hurt.
Is Burkana's history as complicated as the heroes? You're saying that Frisia didn't attack us first?
Burkana is a land. It's the people that are aggressive. Even though the famous Battle of the Drowsy Deep was fought on the Frisian border, I know for a fact that the Burkans never meant to bring death and destruction. Quite the opposite. Let's not disturb the memory of the dead any further. No feats or transgressions of the past can change anything in the present. You should just remember that one day you'll rest under a slab of stone just like this, and some finicky book lover will label you as a bandit, or criticize you for taking innocent lives.
You hold your tongue, Hopper. You can't beat me in a fist fight. You should twist your head off for such slander. I've never murdered innocents. Never wanted to be an executioner, and never looted corpses, unless you count the trophies from my regiment's coffers.
Well, then no scribe or scribbler can hurt you.
It's no use arguing with you, Hopper. You've gotten the better of me every time. You know more and you see further. There's one thing you don't realize. There are thousands of men like me. When I die, it'll be nothing special.
Why would you want everlasting fame, Ake? For a tombstone that hardly anyone visits? These times don't accommodate long-term plans. I wish we could predict what tomorrow holds. Alright, so... Oh, there's the double men here, way up there. Alright, so we can take the Burkanan Road. It is a well-trodden highway marked with posts and road signs, frequently patrolled by the Juranan Guard. Or the Old Gabonan Road. It's already broken and unkempt, but still a decent road traversing the desolate lands near the spurs of the Milky Mountains. Let's take the Burkanan Road. You stop in a tiny village to buy fresh bread from a roadside baker. An ancient man with a crooked cane hobbles closer. His droopy eyes rest on you for a moment, and then he kneels before you. He tells you that he recognizes you, saying that you were once his teacher, and that you traveled the roads of Burkana together some 80 years ago. You grab him by the shoulders and yank him to his feet, and quickly send him away with a handful of coins. Ake mounts his horse, rips a chunk from the hot loaf, and washes the simple meal down with a jug of fresh milk.
What was that about, Hopper? Tell me. If you're trying to pull wool over my eyes, make sure it's nice and warm.
You didn't expect to see a former student. What do you tell Ake? Do you lie to him,
or joke your way out of it. If you have enough strength left, you could also cast an obliviating spell instead. Okay, I'm not going to blast the guy with a spell. Let's just laugh it off. You nod at the ancient man, hobbling away. Oh, that was nothing, you tell Ake. Happens all the time. I mean, really. One time in Gibo, place I hadn't been in 15 years, I got harassed by this plump Gabonian lady. Where have you been, you son of a bitch? She said. Answer me, you bastard. Our son is 3 years old now.
Ake immediately lights up. That happened to me 4 times, and every time it was a woman I'd never met. How'd you get out of that one? You chuckle. It didn't. The guard took all my money, gave 1/3 of it to the woman, and kept the rest for themselves. So I'll never set foot in Gabona ever again. Okay, that's funny. Alright, so we can follow the Burchanan Road to the abandoned smithy. The Ursus Road, which is a decent dirt road that skirts impassable forests but may present a challenge on rainy days. Or the Foul Track, which is a seldom traveled path through the Cursed Grove, where anyone you meet is a witch or a wizard. We're trying to get here. Alright, I'm going to take the Ursus Road. You feel the reaping growing stronger. Shadow falls on you. Okay, same thing again. Give in to the curse some more, or resist. Let's resist this time. Power of the reaping grows when you resist the curse, making your foes smarter and stronger. If the challenge ever becomes too great, you can change the difficulty setting in the main menu. Alright, we're still gonna resist. The reaping grows stronger. Terminium plunges into chaos. The plague rages, pitting people against each other. Yet you gather the energy to end this once and for all. Hopefully, it works. You catch up with a band of Eisen and Bowman and make camp together. Ake finds some old acquaintances, shares some good memories with them, till the looming prospect of the battles to come eventually gives way to the daily hustle and bustle. The enticing smell of porridge made with hemp oil wafts from the bubbling kettle over the fire. You decide to rest. The Eisen and Bowman happen to have a minstrel from the capital traveling with them. After dinner, the fellow removes the cover from his lute, which turns out to be completely out of tune, and hollers the ballad of the 12 heroes. He slaughters the words and melody in equal measure. He sings some nonsense about a lovely lass and a mighty warrior who met by the triple men here, fell in love, and defeated no less than 24 reapers. You're furious at the fool for taking the liberty to alter lyrics commemorating your fallen comrades. He's a horrible singer, too. So you can berate him, hex him, or keep quiet. You know, leave the dude alone, especially when Hopper's trying to keep a low profile here. The minstrel's performance of the ancient ballad is worse than horrible, but you tough it out and avoid making a scene. You mute the mournful bleating by casting a light deafness hex upon yourself, although you wish you also had a hex to mute stupidity. I wish I had that too. Okay, so now we can follow the Ursus Road. The Nat Mire, which is a forest path that dives into gullies and runs along the craggy riverbed. It hastens travel time, because no one rests in a maelstrom of mosquitoes. Ugh. Or the Witch's Track, which is a stony path winding between the hills, a way of making profit for the local raiders. So we either get straight to the men here. Alright, take our chances with the Witch's Track. You approach the stockade enclosing a menhir called the Arch. Seems like Thorn's been here. Enz's paid the place a visit too. You see blood and sword shards by the gate. One of the masks lies in the dirt. The gate is opened by a stocky, gloomy soldier. He scans your group with suspicion, finally resting his gaze on Ake. The giant warrior dismounts, handing the guard the papers. You do likewise, and approach the guard.
Good day to you, travelers. Vegan, chief watchman of this harbor, this stockade, at your service. I'll gladly see your papers. Do you have them on you? Hand them over here, please. Let's see who you are. Oh! Oh? That's not helpful. This probably isn't the first time you've seen Prince Trieg's seal. Are you going to pretend you don't know who I am? Got several questions for you, Vegan. Answer me, and you can pretend I was never here. For starters, tell me. Do you know Captain Thorn Brennan? True, I must abide by this seal of yours, but that's no excuse for threats. I've seen much greater threats, as has my ancient comrade Thorn. He passed through here with a squad. Helped us fend off the Enzes, he did. Let's see. Now this one's gonna affect my standing a bit. Thorn lose any men? You could say so. One of his veterans was corrupted. We buried this Krieger on the hill outside the stockade, not in the local cemetery. Though the villagers are pious, they don't need something like that near their homes. What do you mean by corrupted? You're not making any damn sense. What's wrong with Krieger? Will you tell me or not? I would if I knew what magic like the back of my hand. As it stands, I don't know shit. If you're so bloody curious, have a look for yourself. Maybe the gods cursed him, or some sorcerer corrupted him. Thorn have a blond lad with green eyes with him. Yeah, I saw someone like that. Looked a lot like Prince Ho. Mind you, I haven't seen him in a long time, but the two lads have a lot in common, I swear.
What was Thorn's company like? Is it entirely warriors?
Who knows? It's not like my sore ass rode alongside them. They fight well. The rest remains to be seen. One of his men turned out to be rotten. Caused me a lot of trouble. But Thorn he protects his people. Coughed up a pretty sum for the fool, so everything's been settled. And do you know where Thorn was headed? He asked the way to Ursus, so I gather that's where he's headed. From here, it's either go to Ursus or go home. If I remember correctly, he wanted to visit the menhir there.
Who did he ask? Did he talk to anyone else in the stockade?
I'm the only one he knows here. He only spoke to his companions. And maybe some merchants. No, wait, there was someone else. A seer. She called herself Chilla. That's her tent by the menhir. Chilla herself has vanished, though.
Interesting. Be worthwhile to check the tent. It's not every day you hear stories about vanishing seers.
No further questions.
Alright. Well, let's check Celia's tent.
This is where the old seer rested. She foretold all the Enz's attacks, for which I'm grateful. Without her, we might have failed. The seer spoke to Thorn and then disappeared while we were fighting the Enz's. She left some of her possessions behind. Her tent is still here.
Did she do any sorcery or mix potions?
Nah. She brought a salve to help with the neck ache, but claimed it came from the Ursa's temple. It's already running out. What struck me is that she kept chuckling under her breath. Had a fearsome look in her eyes, too. She also touched the menhir, but warned us not to. And that warning wasn't groundless.
What did she tell Thorn? Can you recall anything?
Should I have eavesdropped on their conversation? It's beneath me. It seems Chilia had been waiting for him specifically, or his daughter. She spoke with her, too. Quick as a whip, Thorn's daughter.
Listen, I also recall them mentioning Unda, the lady healer from Ursus. Don't seem to enjoy talking about her. She's no old crone, Hopper. Half the village is old women, and I know all about them. Chilia doesn't walk, talk, or even smell like them. The way she moves would make even young lasses envious. That's why I don't think she's human. What if I'm not human either? My back doesn't ache, and I don't reek of old age.
I used to stand at the gate with the toll collectors. I could see through any cart, you know. But Chilla was like looking through fogged glass. I could see nothing. She read my mind throughout the entire conversation, though my mind isn't exactly packed with thoughts. And then she disappeared. Here one moment and gone the next. The gate was closed the whole time.
Were her hands black by any chance? No, I didn't see any signs of such an illness. She's wearing a dress with long sleeves cuffed at the wrist and stone bracelets on each arm, but her hands looked clean. She made predictions, you say? What did they look like? How did she prophesize? Did she rant or chant?
How are those two different?
No, she didn't do any of that. Seemed more like she was raving, only she guessed right every single time. Stood over here, she did, squinted at the sun, then turned and spoke. "Be ready, vegan," she said. 12.5 Enzes are skirting the edge of the forest.
And every time things happened exactly as she predicted.
Well, I need to go now. If you see Chilla, tell her Blance is looking for her.
A moment, my friend. There's something else I need to tell you, but I can't quite remember what it is. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Is it about the double menhir? Wait, have you ever heard the expression, one on the two?
The two is what we nicknamed our menhir.
When people say, "I'll meet you at the two," they mean the 2 menhir stones. Kind of funny, since you can walk the whole stockade from end to end in 5 minutes. What could 1 on the 2 refer to? A sign? A ribbon? A mark?
Hang on. Chilla always overcomplicates things. As soon as you said Blance, I remembered. She didn't just touch the menhir. She scratched something into its surface. She told me to mention that to Blance whenever he stopped by. Will you go and have a look? Could be some kind of a curse, mind you.
It's too late for me to steer clear of curses. I need to think it over. Well, let's go check Thorn's grave, or Krieger's grave. Hey there, Exon Harush. Thanks. Alright, now that goes that way. You decide to examine Krieger's grave and ask Vegan to accompany you. He'd probably rather join a battle or some other risky task, but he can't decline your request. Reluctantly, he leads you up a hill. You find yourself in front of a recent burial site, topped with a huge boulder. The chief watchman spits. "This is where my boys and I buried him, a good distance from the village. Should have burnt him, I guess. When all this started, I thought that the white-masked abominations with their strange swords were the worst horrors I'd ever seen. I've since changed my mind." Hake shrugs. "Why fear corpses? Fear the living. What are all those stakes for? And a huge bloody boulder on top? Now we're going to dig up the grave and drag the corpse out by its toe." As Krieger's corpse becomes visible, your companions recoil in fear. Even Ake grows pale. Vegan wipes cold sweat from his brow. You approach the grave and, undeterred by the unsightly remains, document the site in your travel journey. The others look on with a mix of fear and respect. Once the drawing is complete, no one says a word. They all look to you for guidance, but they'll need to face their own fears. As a man of letters, a scribe may seem crazy, but without a scribe's curiosity, there wouldn't be any chronicles. You see a beast. I see a victim of terrible sorcery. Alright. This hideous thing will decompose within a week and leave no trace.
Why is it decaying so quickly?
I had to collect bodies in the summer heat once, but even they didn't decompose this quickly. That's the flip side of sorcery. You use spells to create a beast and imbue it with power, but that power can only be drawn from the victim's flesh and leaves a gaping hole once depleted. I don't even want to think about who might have done it. But fear not, he isn't dangerous.
Shit, why was that? I didn't just fall off a turnip cart. I've heard tall tales of sorcerers and shapeshifters, but they don't exist, do they?
No, they don't, and this is not a shapeshifter. The fangs and talons are akin to the marks on people's necks. This reaping will be the worst one yet, I imagine. Imagine an entire pack of such beasts. Alright, cool, Exenharsh. Yeah, good game. I mean, dude, I don't know what to say. Thanks. How are you doing tonight, buddy? Okay. What's the mark on his chest? Who could have left it?
Captain's insignia, what else? Krieger was the commander of young soldiers and captain of the guard in Albius. Oh yes, he had his captain's insignia. Thorn took it. Nearly burnt his fingers, that's how hot it was.
Oh, good choices. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. Well, I'm trying. That's both good news and bad news. bad that a Strix can't protect you from this plague, but good that it doesn't absorb venom like the Menhirs do. Alright, and you may rebury the corpse.
The locals believe they're necessary indeed. Now, if it's not too much trouble, please ask your strong man to roll the boulder back onto the grave. I'll manage the stakes. Think what you will, but I don't intend to scare anyone.
Alright, Ake. Ake, please help us with the stone. There's no need to trouble the locals. With the reaping afoot, let them believe what they want, and fear what they'd like to. It's more helpful than harmful.
No trouble at all. Truth be told, I wouldn't mind having a stone like this atop my own grave, when the time comes, just in case.
Alright, well, let's go check the message we got left at the Menhir. Vegan hobbles to the Menhir with you.
I asked her, what's the use in writing something nobody can see? And she said,
Unda knows what she's doing, even when she's scribbling on dungeon walls. Whoever it's meant for will read it. Even if they don't, the inscription vanishes in a couple days. They're not permanent.
could it be that Unda is the lady healer from Ursus?
You brush Vegan off, making a mental note about Unda's dungeon wall scribblings, and examine the sacred stone. There's an inscription indeed, but it's hazy. Same as the inscription in the Albius bell tower that you still recall so vividly. This inscription isn't easy to read. You'll have to undo someone else's spell. And what will be your reward? The beginning of the spell that will save you? Or another blackened hand? She said leave it for him to read, so we're gonna do it. You unweave the spell, hiding the inscription. Before they fade, the runes on the stone shine brightly and clearly, etching themselves into your memory. Take into yourself that which you can, for there is no one else to take it. Well, that got us a skill point anyway. And time to continue the journey. As you're about to leave the stockade, Vegan approaches you.
I'm no rebel, but I'll speak my mind. You're chasing Thorn, but he's broken no laws and has committed no vile acts. It's what I believe.
You smile. These days, everyone wants to warn me, but every other warning is a threat. I should probably get used to it. Let me bid you farewell, Vegan. I've tarried here more than I intended. Vegan, however, takes the reins of your horse, a clear signal that the conversation isn't over. With a sigh, you dismount.
Hang on a moment. I have to tell you something. Old age hits you hardest. Not in the back or knees, but in the memory. But I remember. Damn it.
What do you remember, Vegan? Spit it out. It's bad luck to muddy farewells with talk.
Who cares about bad luck when the reaping is upon us? No matter how you spin it, it can't get any worse. I've just remembered something. Something Chilla said the moment she arrived. I'd forgotten all about it in the turmoil, but now it struck me like lightning. She may have been raving, but that's what she said. The wise will take heart, but the foolish will not hear. There are holes in holes, one bites, the other brags and moralizes. Talk to those who are eager to talk. Sometimes the tongue knows no more than the heart. What's it all supposed to mean?
I don't know yet, Vegan, but I'll think about it. Good luck to you now. Don't be too quick to judge your friends, old or new. The day for that has yet to come. You leave the stockade. You've managed to conceal the shock of seeing Krieger in his grave, but it's unsettling nonetheless. You've witnessed worse during previous reapings and times of turmoil, but now you feel prickles of fear, genuine fear. 1,000 years ago, the last reaping bore this fruit elsewhere. Those ousted from that land ended up in Terminium. Talons, fangs, and self-inflicted genocide, all omens of a dying world. What could it mean now? The end of Terminium? Or could it be the awakening of the same one who turned your world into a blazing hell? Could the charms of the ringing bells have been protecting Bracana from that same horrible fate? You look to your blackened hand, but find no answer. Your heart pounds heavily in your chest, and fills with a feeling of inevitability.
Hey folks, Aaron here. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and you want more, please hit the subscribe button, like it, all that stuff, and don't forget the alerts for when I post new videos. New videos go up every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 a.m. Central. Vlogs and gaming content. You can also find me at my blog, stickstoriesscotch.blogspot.com, my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/shadowcaster, and a lot of other writing over on Mariner's Rock. Hope you'll be back next time. Until then, remember, keep your knees in the breeze and the shiny side up. And now, I gotta ride.